everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're a first timer, welcome all. It's January 3rd, 2018. Happy New Year's. I hope everyone had an enjoyable holiday and a safe holiday. I know that I said I will make a stitch along video shortly after my last video, but I never got around to it because I was being disturbed. I was being occupied by a whole bunch of guests, a whole bunch of people coming in and out of my house that wanted to celebrate the last 2 days of 2017 and the first 2 days of 2018. And I know that I had the topic for this video, the discussion of Korean tradition, celebrating New Year's and Chinese New Year's. But before I go on with that, since a lot of stitchers has a whole bunch of varieties of needleminders and show off their needleminders, I would like to show my collections of needleminders. As you can see here, I don't have that much. I only have like 8 needleminders, and I would like to explain on how I started to make my very own. In the beginning, I had none of these whatsoever. So what I used to hold my needles between stitches, or between changing threads, or threading a new thread onto my needle, I used one of these magnets, one of those plastic, rubbery, flexible magnets. And what I would do with them is, let's see if you can see my sidebars. Yeah, you can see my sidebars. Is glue them. You might see it on here. I would glue them on the sidebars of my scroll frame. Now I have quite a few of sidebars, and I would attach these onto, or glue these onto my sidebars. And before, I used to have at least maybe 3 or 4 needles up there, because sometimes I break the eye of the needle sometimes, or it just breaks. I guess at the time, I don't anymore, but I guess at the time I used one of them weak, cheap needles. I forgot what kind of needles I use. I've been using this needle for months now. But anyway, yeah, that's what I used to hold my needles in the beginning, until this one day I went down to the capital of Seoul, and went to this huge, this small partial town streets has full of shopping malls, a lot of retailers, a lot of wholesalers that, opens 24 hours a day. Literally opens 24 hours a day and night. And I did a little search on my phone to see if they had a cross stitch store nearby, and they did. Well, this cross stitch store was in this old building that had Ford storage, and when I walked in, it had a whole bunch of fabrics. I mean, different kinds of fabrics that you're able to make into quilts, curtains, aprons, clothes, pillowcases, whatever. They have it all. And they have a few stores that has accessories that sells these kinds. Of course, they have more varieties, plus this one. But I didn't make this one into a needleminder, and I'll explain in a bit why. Anyway, these needleminders, I mean, of course, when you pass this accessory store, you will think, well, maybe they already have something on the back, like a brooch pin or something, or a hair clip. But they didn't have nothing on the back. They just sell them as is. And it was up to you if you want to make them into a brooch pin or a hair clip, or want to attach them to your bags or your hat, whatever. It was really cool. I mean, I haven't seen that around where I live right now, but it was really cool that, you know, they sell such things without anything on the back. So I picked about two butterflies, one umbrella, one crown, and a little ballerina. And at the time, the only magnets that I could find are these little round black magnets. I wasn't really happy purchasing them, but I purchased them anyways. And when I came home, I started to worry. Worry that, well, if I make all of these into needleminders, and if they leave a stain on my white Aida, then I would be really, really upset and unhappy. So, what I decided to do at the time is to make one butterfly into a needleminder with these magnets. And I would purposely leave them on my fabric for very long periods of time to see if they leave any kind of rusty stains or black stains on the fabric, and come to find out they would do, or they haven't. So yeah, these magnets doesn't stain. You can never be too careful. You always have to try them out. So as I was saying, they never stained, and I used this needleminder for a very long time, until a couple of weeks ago I went to this office school supply that was close to my house, and I asked the sales clerk if they had a small, strong magnets. And the clerk showed me two kinds of magnets. One that was very, very strong, and another one that was not so strong. And he told me that there's a difference The only difference is not only is one is stronger, the other difference is the strongest one is more expensive than the less strong ones. It was like I would say $5-6 differences, I think. I can't even remember, even if it was a couple of weeks ago, but I'm sure it was somewhere around that rate. So I decided to buy the strongest one, and it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 8 of them, and I used only 6 of them, and the rest of it I sent it to 2 of my friends, one for each. 2 of my friends that one lived in Canada and one lived in America, so they could use them if they ever want to make anything into needleminders, or just use them, just use them. So again, when I got home, I've tested them out, see how strong they were, and they're pretty strong. I mean, they're a little stronger than these, but they're pretty strong. Then what I did at first is like attach one of these magnets on the back of my fabric, and when I try to pull them out or take them off of my fabric, I couldn't. I mean, they were so attached together that you have to use a little force to pull them apart. And I figured that wouldn't work, so I decided to use this as the back to hold, just put it on the back of my fabric and to have it hold. And it's easily to pull them apart if I want to remove them off of my fabric at any time. Now, no matter how strong these little small magnets are, it didn't work for my ballerina. It never worked, because it wouldn't stick. It wouldn't stick to it. Say if I put it above her dress, it wouldn't stick. But if I put it like above, above her dress, well, on her dress. If I put it on her dress, it wouldn't stick. But if I put above it, it probably would stick. But then it would be hard. It was hard to grab my needles off of it. So what I used to do, is stick this needle into her skirt. And I've done that a couple of times, and I've noticed that it leaves this sort of like a small tear on her dress, and I didn't want to ruin it more as it did, so I took the magnet off of her and put it away, and as I was trying to figure out what to use her as for. So that's the story of this ballerina. That's why I couldn't use this as a needleminder as much as I wanted to, because this would have went perfect with my Mirabilia Titania pattern if I stitched on it. It would have went perfect with it. But oh well, it is what it is. But oh well. So yeah, that's what I did with 6 of my magnets, except this one, is glue them onto the rest of the 6 magnets, the things. This one you probably have seen similar. Not to brag about it, but if you watched, if you watched Gerald's last video of his purchase and the rack, I'm that person that gave him all those, the two patterns, the storage bag, whatnot, and plus I gave him this couple of things that he can make his own collections of needleminders, and I sent him a mask. What these used to be was refrigerator magnets that had these little things attached to them in the beginning. But what I did is, this is not it. What I did is took the magnet that was back of it off, threw that away, and then attached one of my old magnets onto it, and use them as needleminders. Now, I haven't used this as a needleminder yet. I don't think I need to until I find the right pattern that will go with it. So I just, kind of waiting for the right pattern to show up so I could use this as a needleminder. Anyway, this one, about a month ago, I purchased over $30 worth of cross-stitch items from my INS that we have here in Korea. And I don't think they do overseas shipping. I don't think they do it. But yeah, those kind of INSs that doesn't do overseas shipping, or doesn't do much of it. The owner of that INS not only, if you purchase over $30 from that INS, it's a free shipping, automatically free shipping. But some of the INS will send you a small pattern as a free gift for purchasing from their site. But this INS, this owner, sent me this little pendant. Now we all know what that sign means. And it had a hole. It has a hole, and yeah, I could have made it into a scissor fob, or if I was crazy enough, use as a necklace pendant. But no, I'm not that crazy. I wouldn't use this and wear it around my neck. So since I work on small projects at times on my smallest tube, I needed a smaller needleminder. So what did I do is attach one of those magnets on the back, and it doesn't take much space on that small hoops. Those small hoops that I have. It was great. So yeah, this is what I use on my small hoops. This and this. Now this one, we have underground mall in Korea. I mean, literally, we have underground mall in Korea. They have clothing stores, shoe stores, beauty supply stores, accessory stores. And as I was walking through there to get to my LNS that's in the underground mall, and as I was walking past this accessory store, I noticed this. They had a box full of rings with characters like Hello Kitten, Pokemon. If some of you may know it, some of you may not, Sailor Moon. And they have quite a other varieties, such as the different kinds of animals. But they were rings. What they had as a ring band is not one of those hard metal kind rings. It had like a very small or soft metal kind rings, almost like plastic, but they're not plastic, but they're metal. If that makes any sense. And you know, as I was looking at them, I was thinking, well, maybe I can make one of these into needleminders as well. So I decided to purchase only one, and they cost $2 each. Of course, I could have got 5, but if I bought all, you know, 5, which is $10, and tested them out if they work as a needleminder, and find out that none of them does, then it would be a waste of money, even if they're $2 each. So that's what I did. I brought it home and got rid of the soft metal band ring type thing off the back, and before I glued it on, I've kind of attached it together and tested them out, see if it holds, and it does. And you know, just glue them on with a glue gun. And that's what I would like to recommend to those who wants to make a needleminder of their own. If they happen to walk by a store and see something that they like and like to make them into needleminders, test them out first. Don't glue them in the beginning. Just test them out first. Just hold them together, hold the magnet and the item that you want to be your needleminder. Test them out, see if it does hold your needles, and if it does hold your if it does hold your needles, then glue them. And voila, you have your own collection, or your very own, hand made by you yourself, your own needleminder. This one, this is a picture of my son when he used to attend taekwondo classes. His instructor, had each of his students to take a picture in a pose, such as he did in here, and his instructor would make two kind of things out of the picture. One is with a banner. It's a huge, like a poster kind of thing, but only has a banner that you could hang it on a wall. And he would make another one as small as this. This was like 10, 12 years ago, I think. And my son attended, well, he's 22 right now, so when he attended taekwondo classes between the last year of elementary school and first year of his junior high school years. So it was, a really, really long time ago. And now that he's still in the Army, although he has 3 months left of service, I miss him a lot. And every time I miss him or think about him, I would like to keep this close by when I stitch. So I made this into a needleminder. And of course I tested this as well. So that's it for all my needleminders. Now on to Stitch Along and the discussion of how we celebrate both New Year's in 1 year. But before I do, I need to put all of these away and readjust my phone a little bit so everybody can see what I'm stitching on. And while I'm doing that, y'all could just sit and relax, and I'll be right back in a sec. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. As most of you know that watched my first video, the Stitch With Me video, I am stitching on Sunset Cottage, and for those that are new to my channel, I will show you a picture of what I'm stitching on. Again, it's this, and I started out, this booklet divides into four sections, and I started to work on the first page, which is on this up to here, and I've noticed on the second page it deals with a lot of colors as the first page. So and I also wanted to get the second done, as I wanted to get the first page done at the same time, so that way I could scroll up my fabric more to do the third and the fourth page that's at the bottom. So I went ahead and started working on second page, and yeah, a lot of confettis. What I did here is do most of the stitching that carries a lot. Do a cross stitching. That way I could tuck the threads that is like somewhat distance be tucked under the other stitches more, and that way my back won't look as bad with all those carried threads. I'm stitching this on 18 count opalescent Aida 2/1. Some people may stitch 1/1 for 18 count, but I stitch 2/1. Start my thread with a loop start, or start my stitch with a loop start, and I would go row by row, like I go half stitch on one row of that color and come back and finish the top half. So my threads or my stitch are laying like this, in other words. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to get the 3 columns finished here. 1, 2, 3 finished here. Then go ahead, and after I get those 3 columns done, I would work on the 4th column of the second page, and then go right ahead and do the 5th column all together at once. Anyway, back to the topic, how we celebrate New Year's. Well, first of all, I would like to say that Korean, I don't know how other Asian continents celebrate their New Year's. Like Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, where other places. I don't even know how Japanese celebrate their New Year's, but I do know that China celebrate their Chinese New Year's with a lot of fireworks and a lot of dragon dances. In Korea, it's a little different. Of course, Korea is also divided into different provinces or regions, if you would like to call it regions. Since I haven't been to certain parts like down south where I hear there's a lot of festival going on for Chinese New Year's, the parts of regions that I live in doesn't have a big festival, not that I know of, anyways. But on New Year's Eve, December 31st, a lot of people would take their time to make a road trip towards east coast of Korea. And during that time, during that time, it's most expensive to rent a room. It would cost like maybe 2 times or 3 times as much as it normally, costs. But some people wouldn't mind because they would, like to see the very first sunrise of the first day of that new year. So yeah, they would take their time, some people will, to make the travel, willing to spend 3 times as much for a room to sleep in. And they would wake up on the very first day of the new year very early before it starting to get little, what should I say? While it's still dark, I should say that. While it's still dark, and a lot of people will head out towards the beach or the shore of the ocean and just wait. Just stand there in the cold and wait until they see the first shape of the sun as it rises. Then a lot of people would clap to see the beautiful sunrise, and everybody would, bow their heads and pray for more joyful, happier year, and would pray for better health for their loved ones. So that, and they would stand there, even if they finished praying, they would just stand there for another 30 minutes more and just kind of stare at the sun as it still rises up more and more, and watch the sun shine, or the rising of the sun glow on the ocean waters. That's how we celebrate for the New Year's here. Most people would just stay in towns or cities where they live in and just, waste the night away, drinking, partying, whatnot. Now on Chinese New Year's, every year is not on the same month or the same dates for Chinese New Year's. We have I mean, it changes every year for that occasion. This year, the Chinese New Year holiday starts from February 15th to February 18th. But the main day that we celebrate the New Year's on is on the 16th. Sometimes we have 4-day holidays. Sometimes we have 6-day holidays. Sometimes we have 7 days holidays. Depends. Let's say that since the 16th of February is, I have to look at my calendar here, Friday, say that, you know, the Chinese New Year's is on a Wednesday, then we would have what, 7, 3, 4, 5 days holidays. So yeah, now some people have to work during those holidays. Some people don't have to work during the holidays, and those who doesn't have to work during those holidays would go to, let's say if you were married, would go to the husband's side of family to celebrate. First off, some people would travel 5-hour drive to get to that location, because I mean, they would just drive. But on those holidays, let's say from capital Seoul to Busan, where Ginger Gerald Stitcher used to live close to, normally it would take 5 hours. But during those holidays, it could take extra 3 to 4 hours to get there. That's very tiring for a driver. I mean, you'd be stuck in the car, in the traffic, much slower than the turtle moves. So it could be tiring. But you know what? It wouldn't bother them, because once they get to their location, the husbands, all they do is sit around the table, have a little conversation, and drink alcohol, while the wives goes into the kitchen, help their mother-in-law, whoever else is there, the aunts on their husband's side, prepare a meal for the next day. They would make braised short ribs. Then they would make some rice cakes, they would cook up some rice cake stew with dumplings. And this noodle type. We call them japchae, but I much prefer call them chow mein. If some of you may know what chow mein is, it's this kind of almost clear type noodles with vegetables mixed in them. But yeah, I would call them chow mein noodles, because it's a lot similar to it. So anyway, yeah, that's the first day of that holiday. But the big event holiday, which is the 16th, the major event, is the Chinese New Year's. Everybody would wake up bright early in the morning, and they would set up a huge table full of food, full of fruits, a couple of rice cakes, and that table is for the ancestors. Now, men or boys would gather on in front of the table and would pay respect to the ancestors with a huge bow. As if the ancestors, the spirit of the ancestors came and are sitting the opposite side of the table and enjoying the meal that was put up there. So after that is done, it's time for excitement for kids ages from 5 to 21. I mean, even if you're adult in 21, most household would, if those kids pay their respect to the elders in that household with a huge bow. I mean, a huge bow. I'm talking about bowing down to the floor. Bow. They would receive an envelope with money inside. Not knowing how much it's inside, but it's quite a lot if it's put in an envelope. So the kids are excited about that because not only do they, of course they get normal allowances from their parents daily or weekly, but on that day, put it this way, it would seem as if they're more richer than their parents. That should explain why it's so exciting for them. And not only that, but they get to eat all the sweets they want on that day. All the junk foods, greasy food on that day. And, just enjoy that day with fun. And then after the kids bow, men and boys would gather together and see. Some houses would bury their, whoever passes away in. We have cemeteries here, but some houses would bury their loved ones in the woods or next to their house. And either way, the men would gather around and get ready to hop in a car or to walk in the woods. If their loved ones say their grandparent, the ancestors were buried in the cemetery, then they would hop in a car and drive to the cemetery and pay more respect in front of that, in front of their graves. But most houses has the grave nearby the house. Most households does. And they would go and pay their respects to them. Okay, my camera shut off sometime in there. I don't know up to where I talked to, but yeah, but so on the on the husband side of the family, they would spend 2 nights and almost 3 days there, and then after that they would try to make it to the wife's side of a household and pay the same respect to the elders in that household. And again, eating a lot more rice cake soup with dumplings and braised short ribs and chow mein noodles, or whatever was made in that household. And again, the kids will get more white envelopes. Unlike the husband's side of the family, you don't have to pay any respects to the grave of your ancestors unless you want to. But most of the households, if you're not really busy in going back to your home, most of the households would just, continue sitting around the table, enjoying the alcohol, the food, and some of the households would play little card games, or this one game that we call what is called Unoti. Unoti is sort of like a Monopoly, but it's in Korean, and we toss these 4 wood sticks, and on one side we would mark an X, and while the other side doesn't have any markings, but it's almost like Monopoly. I can't really explain how you play it. I know how to play it, but I can't really explain it. So, yeah, games like that, or the cards, like Korean poker, which we call Flosstube. Maybe some of you will know, some of you don't. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of you knew it, because I've met a lot of foreign people from other countries that knows the card game called Flosstube. So, yeah. Anyways, that's how we celebrate our Chinese New Year's, and we also celebrate Thanksgiving. Only our Thanksgiving is between August and October, so it's more like right in the beginning of a fall, maybe. But like I said, it's on a different date of every year, different month, different date of every year. Not telling when it will be. I would say the Chinese calendars that most Asians use, or all, I don't know, I couldn't say much for other countries in Asia, how their calendars are used, but I would call them Chinese calendars because they have a different date printed underneath the normal date that we know of today. So, yeah. So that is why we have different dates for Chinese New Year's and Thanksgiving. But on Thanksgiving, instead of having rice cake soup with dumplings, we have beef soup. And we do pay the same respect to the ancestors, but not the elders of the household on Thanksgiving. And no white envelopes for the kids. What else? Thanksgiving. It's the same. It's the preparation of other food, like such as chow mein, braised short rib. It's the same as Chinese New Year's. Other than that, it's just the soup is different. We don't wear any traditional Korean traditional clothes on Thanksgiving. Not at all. Unless you're completely newlyweds. You just got married not too long ago, then you are to wear traditional Korean clothes. Anyway, I think I hope I explained it all out for the Chinese New Year's and the New Year's. But I had a couple of people asking me or giving me ideas. Why not, discuss Korean traditions and the food we eat. It was a good idea, and I liked the idea, but I gotta say that even if I was born in Korea and been living here for 25 years, ever since I came back to Korea, I would like to say that I'm more Americanized. Doesn't mean that I don't know all the traditions. It just means that I don't know all of it. I know most of it, but not all of it. So there are maybe some things that I don't know, and there may be some things that I do know. If this is your first time watching my video, I will explain that, because the reason of that is that I lived in the States ever since I was 5 for 18 years. So in a way I would consider myself more Americanized than I am Koreanized, about 85 to 15%. And even though I should be more frequent in my English, I can't help it, because the only times that I use my English is when I teach as a tutor. And since I haven't used it in any kind of conversation with anybody, all my foreign friends, like when I say foreign, Canadians, UK, Australian, American friends that used to teach here in schools or institute, they all left years ago. They all left. Those were good friends, and after they eat one by one, after they leave, nowadays I don't know where they hang out, to tell the truth, because I haven't been around outside much unless I'm dating. And so, I'm kind of like not able to speak English in a conversation as much as I used to. So I hope that will explain and will help you understand more why I stutter and have a tongue twist a lot. Half the times I forget things, even if it was at the tip of my tongue. There are times where I happen to forget the word that I'm looking for or want to say. So, but this is my third video that I have made so far, and I may not be good at it yet, but you know what? Practice makes perfect. And I believe one of these days, as much as I make more videos in the present or the future, I'll be good at it. Hopefully in this video, you know, I hope I did better, to be honest. But anyway, with that being said, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Please give a lot of like. And if you have any questions at all, any questions about Korea or any questions about me, how I stitch, whatever, please comment below or follow me on Instagram and message me through Instagram, and I will respond as fast as I can and answer them the best way I can. Again, thank you for coming and watching and stitching with me. Hope you have a nice day or evening, and most of all, enjoy your cross stitch. Until next time, bye bye.